That's your cue, Lou.
Oh, I thought you were running the news show.
Oh, hi, I'm Eric, and I'm running the news show.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Random Chatter.
We'll all do it together.
There
so
we
this
go.
is our news show, in case you guys are confused by the lack of discussion we've been having here, because we really didn't. Yeah, you see, Eric's been running the lightning round shows lately, so I kind of thought he was running this.
I'm sorry. I've also been having audio issues. There's this light, high-pitched hum in the background that I can't get rid of at the moment. We'll fix it later, but...
I always hear a slight buzzing sound when you talk, so...
Yeah. It kind of sounds like, have you ever watched the old Peanuts cartoons?
Oh boy! So let's just go through the news here. So the big news item has to be the Alec Baldwin situation that happened last Thursday on set of his new movie Rust. Yeah, I mean,
terrible,
horrible events that occurred. He discharged a prop gun on set and killed was it assistant director?
No, director of photography.
Director of photography.
The assistant director is the person who a lot of people are targeting right now.
Yeah.
Which we'll get to that in just a second, but go on.
Now I've read conflicting reports that they don't know how many discharges there were. The director of photography got killed. The director got hit as well, and was released from the hospital since then. But it's just, one of these things that you don't understand how they can happen. I mean, mistakes happen all the time, but how does a live round find its way onto a set and into a prop weapon that was being used on set? And this is not the first time they've had discharge of firearms on this set of this movie recently.
Right, and that's the thing. I mean, you say mistakes happen. They shouldn't happen with firearms, and they shouldn't happen repeatedly. So the story is the director of photography was over at the little station where they go over the dailies and stuff like that, where they've got the monitors set up. I don't remember if it was the assistant director or the person who's in charge. I think not the prop master, but somebody else who's in charge specifically of the firearms, came over and handed Alec Baldwin his weapon. It went off, and it's not clear as far as whether or not Alec Baldwin did anything to initiate it. It's believed that he probably didn't, because there had been so many other accidental firings of prop guns on this set. And it is believed that it hit both of them. It was one round that hit both of the two victims. The funny thing is, the camera crew apparently had walked off the set prior to the shooting, specifically because of safety issues. And the assistant director, who is in charge of this sort of stuff, apparently has had lots of complaints filed against him over various different films and sets and such. There have been other firearms that had been fired. There were reports of other people saying he wouldn't do safety huddles, safety meetings. The few times he was forced to by other prop masters and stuff, he complained the whole time about, I don't understand why we're doing this. We've got the same stuff on the set today that we had yesterday. So if you saw it yesterday, you know what to do today, etc. You're supposed to declare that there's a firearm on the set and what type of firearm it is. Is it plastic? Is it rubber? Or is it something that is capable of actually firing something, in which case it should be empty. It should be called out that it is a cold firearm. Anybody is supposed to be allowed to go and inspect it before shooting, anybody, and then you proceed. And this guy just would never call out that there was firearms on the set, and again, unless one of the other prop masters insisted on. He used to get in fights with him all the time about it. So this guy apparently has a reputation for this sort of thing. And of course, this is all just stuff that's being reported online. We are not claiming anything here. We don't have enough money for anybody to sue us, so please don't. But the whole thing is tragic. I mean, and this is a director of photography who, his career was going places. She had a husband, she had a kid. She was well liked.
Yep.
And I've been on record over the years for saying I'm not a fan of Alec Baldwin as a person, as a human being. I think he's kind of a jerk in general. However, I can't imagine what he's going through knowing that, he's at work and he does this and he killed somebody. Yep. I don't believe it's his fault. I am completely confident it is not his fault. And while I don't like the guy, I feel really, really bad for him.
Anyone, and obviously the death is of Helena Hutchins is tragic. She was the director of photography on this, and that impact on her friends and family and stuff. But yeah, the impact, just the psychological impact to Alec Baldwin. He's got to feel like a lot of like guilt and sorrow and that kind of stuff, even though from all reports that have gone out so far, no one has said this is his fault. No one at all. And he has obviously expressed a lot of sympathy in this whole thing and really, really terrible. Hopefully, and when we look at things like safety issues and that kind of stuff, it's a bad thing that happens, and we hope though that there's a silver lining to it, and that's that we learn from it and that these things don't happen again. And hopefully it doesn't, but we have had we say that, but we have had deaths through the decades because of faulty prop firearms.
You don't cut corners on safety, period.
So, no.
The company where I work, we spend millions and millions of dollars on safety stuff, and we could cut corners, but they are militant about safety where I work. And it's because you don't cut corners. You don't ever make your employees worry about whether or not they're going home safely. And apparently this has been a problem. There's a strike that has been going on recently that's in the process apparently of being worked out about working conditions for crew, not cast members, but the actual people who work on the sets and such, and being overworked in bad working conditions. And all of that can lead to safety issues as well. And then when you don't have a safety oriented attitude and you are in charge of things, like it sounds as if this assistant director may have had that kind of perspective, you end up with things like that. So yeah, I agree, Tim. I hope that maybe this sends up a red flag that this stuff needs to be taken really, really seriously. And again, I feel for Alec Baldwin, but also while that's what a lot of the talk is, she had a husband, she had a kid. Yeah. They've got to be, I don't know. I don't think we should probably spend a whole lot of time on this, but like, it's just, it's the talk of the town. It's very tragic and it was unnecessary. And I think that's the most frustrating part of this whole thing is it could have been avoided.
Yeah. And the thing I don't get about this, and I don't understand, I shouldn't say, I don't know all the rules that the movie sets have regarding firearms, but I don't understand why a firearm should be out of the hands of the armorer or the weapons handler for any reason besides giving it to the actor to use for the scene. This evidently was on a cart that was put down by the weapons handler, and the assistant director had handed the weapon to Alec Baldwin from the cart. And, he had called out cold gun, and it was a safe gun for him to handle. He pulled the trigger and fired the weapon. But
you don't call out cold gun unless you check yourself.
Exactly. But also, I don't understand why. I would not imagine that you should be handling the weapon except for the armorer or the actor using the weapon,
or the prop master, which sometimes is one of the armorers and stuff.
Armor, same thing.
Yeah. You're right. And the other thing is there is supposed to be accountability. I knew a prop master once. In fact, Lou, you've met him. We'll talk after the show. There's supposed to be accountability, and that's another thing that this particular assistant director apparently was really bad about, is he wouldn't go and make sure all the guns were collected after the shoots either. Yeah, which is insane.
Yeah, exactly.
I hope that the one good thing that comes out of this is that it brings an awareness and people start taking it seriously.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Okay, well, moving along. More great upbeat news. Ruby Rose, who had left the show Batgirl. More news about that in the last week or so.
I'm sorry, was it Batgirl or Batwoman? I might have typed it wrong in the show notes here. I apologize for that if I did.
Oh, I think it is Batwoman, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm an idiot.
Batwoman.
Yep.
Sorry. Well, so
like
the DC fandom thing just came out, and they were
yeah.
talking about the upcoming Batgirl movie that's going to be on HBO Max, and that's where I got it confused. It's Batwoman.
Yep.
Two different characters.
I have a bunch of episodes to watch and still on my DVR, but I haven't come back to it.
I don't think I'm going to, in part because of this. But do you guys know the whole story on this?
Bits and pieces. Yep. I mean, if you want to fill me in.
So she had injured her neck, her spine, during season 1, and she was out.
I didn't know that at all.
Actually broke her neck.
I didn't know that at all.
No, it was broken. And she had surgery, and she finished out the season, and then she left, and it wasn't clear whether she left or whether she was fired, and nobody was really saying too much about it. Recently, in fact, I think it was after this Alec Baldwin thing, she decided to come out and spill the beans on what allegedly was actually happening. And she was citing cases where she had either cracked or broken ribs and other injuries and was expected to continue going. They gave her, I mean, this was a serious injury, the breaking of the neck. She had surgery and they wanted her back on set like a little over a week later, doing more scenes.
I think they gave her like 10 days or something. And it's
she's like, what are you doing? Like, write me out of the next couple of episodes or something. And they're like, no, you need to do this or we're going to recast you. And she's like, do you understand what this is? I mean, this is like serious, complicated surgery that, I mean, that's a really delicate recovery. Any sort of thing dealing with the spine. It's crazy. Yeah. Now, there's a lot of he said, she said stuff. Well,
and they apparently put the closing of all production on her as well. Like, hey, if you don't come back in 10 days, everyone's fired. We're just going to pack everything up and we're done. And she was like, I don't want to be responsible for like that many jobs.
And so she went back.
So, yeah. Yep.
There were various different complaints. There were some complaints about some of the cast handling themselves inappropriately. There was one allegation, I believe, of what would basically equate to some sexual misconduct sort of thing, like a harassment sort, not like physical, but like harassment stuff. The people who've been accused have come back and said it's all false. So there's her voice saying it happened, and there were like 3 other voices saying it didn't happen. But all 3 of those voices were people that she had called out. And it's interesting because the things that they said, well, yeah, she was fired. She kept showing up late. And she's like, yeah, I was showing up late to set. I just had spinal surgery. Like, yeah, I can kind of understand that. So like all of these things, if you I mean, we are in a situation where we don't really get a say in what happened or didn't happen. It's one of those, quote, it's not our business things. But as audience members, like if I had to look at these 2 things and say what did and didn't really happen, I don't know. I think that where there's smoke, there's probably some sort of fire, or at least something got really, really hot that shouldn't have. Even if there's not open flame, I don't know. So I think there's more going on here than what we're seeing. I didn't care for the show that much anyway. And so I don't know.
Yeah, the show was okay. I kind of want to continue to see where they go with it, but I don't know.
My take here is that first of all, Ruby Rose is an absolute, just like total badass actress. Like, she is incredible. She does do a lot of her own stunt work. She's a very, very physical actress. Really intense. She's very good. She doesn't have a history of this kind of thing. where someone can say, oh, well, this is a pattern that she just, she leaves a project and she badmouths people or what. She doesn't have any history of that. On the flip side of it, there's an awful lot of productions that, production staff do have poor histories of this kind of thing. So not saying she's right, not saying she's wrong, because as you said, Eric, it's right now her voice saying that these things happened, and 3 of the people who were, accused of certain things are saying that it didn't.
Yeah.
So who knows? But
other DC sets that Greg Berlanti and his production company have dealt with, people have said were fantastic. So I don't know how high up it goes, but of course, Greg Berlanti is kind of,
and he just got he just retired or something. They were making a big deal of him getting a, I think there was someone named in this. I think it was him who, they just retired and they just got a star on the Walk of Fame. But folks, this star in the Walk of Fame thing is something you buy.
That's a whole different
FYI
story too. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So getting that, we think it's some kind of honor being bestowed on people. The honor is when people show up for the ceremony. That's the nice part. But to actually get it, no, you just
when people like you enough to spend the money to get you one,
Yeah.
Lou could pitch in and get me a star on the Walk of Fame. It doesn't mean anything.
I could, but
we tried, but the $7.50 they would not give us a star.
And
cheap.
Truth be told, we don't like you that much. So
I know.
Okay, moving along. That 90s show sound familiar, right? Because there was that 70s show that everybody loved. It was good. You guys like that?
I'm the only person who never got into that show.
Really?
Yeah.
Tim, did you enjoy that 70s show?
I never watched it when it was airing, but afterwards I had watched a bunch of episodes and I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was
well done show.
Pretty cleverly
I just have one thing to interject here.
Yeah.
Mike in the chat room says, I like you. Thank you, Mike. Thank you.
It's Mike.
I appreciate that.
How do we shut down the chat room?
Maybe Mike can chip in and get you a star on the Walk of Fame.
Maybe. You know what? I don't even need that now because at least I feel appreciated, and that's fine. That's Mike, all I really needed, Lou.
How much do you really like Eric? I mean, just curious.
Enough.
For a friend.
Enough to say it. And he likes that 70s show. So, doesn't like me that much.
No, Mike, I'm so pissed at you right now. You and I are going to have words.
So,
wow.
Thanks.
That 70s show, I'm not a big fan of the 70s in general, like the styles and the clothing. And but the show was okay. I've watched some episodes and it's fine. It was funny. The acting was good. The writing was fine.
I don't think it deserved anything else, but there was that 80s show that didn't go anywhere.
Oh my gosh. Did you watch it?
No, I never did.
Did you watch it?
Thing.
I didn't even know it existed.
I watched probably the first 4 episodes. It was bad. It was so bad. It was bad on a level I don't even know how to describe. I don't understand how it got made. It was did you watch the Knight Rider reboot?
Yeah.
From the 90s?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was that level of bad, maybe worse.
It was bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched it.
It was not good.
It wasn't even to keep me posted. I was like, oh, God.
Yeah. So the 80s, after seeing the 80s show, I don't know that I want to see that 90s show. Other than I guess it's going to focus on, is it Eric and Donna, right?
Yeah, Eric and Donna were Eric was the main kid and his parents, and then Donna was his girlfriend. Okay,
so Eric and Donna are not going to be in that 90s show, but I guess they get married, they have kids. So Eric's parents are going to, and I forget the actors' names and such, but Eric's parents are going to be the grandparents for the main characters in this show.
I know Deborah Jo Rupp is That's the wife. And the only reason why her name sticks in my head is because she was in WandaVision.
Right. And then the father was in RoboCop.
And yeah, I mean, they're...
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he was. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know, her in particular, I think she's very funny. Yeah, and
he did a good job too. I mean, Kurtwood Smith is a good actor. I thought he played that role.
Oh, that's a good comedic
as far
timing.
as, you know, but yeah, very good. Very, very good comedy timing. But he was such a good badass, I guess, just to be in that role.
Yeah, he plays the funny jerk really well.
I don't see it going very well for that 90s show.
It's all about the writing. If they can get the writing down, there's enough of an audience right now that grew up in the 90s that I think can relate to a lot of that. And
the thing is, were the 90s really that interesting though? Like the 80s seemed far more interesting. And if the 80s show didn't go anywhere, then
culturally speaking was all hyperbole. It was shallow. It was materialistic. There's not really a lot you can do there other than social commentary on how materialistic. I love the 80s. I've got such nostalgia for it. But in this sort of context, there's not a lot you can do about it. The 90s you had the angst. You had grunge music and Nirvana and Pearl Jam. You had kind of a bit of a cultural shift. And I think that there's probably better content there for this sort of show. Like the 80s one, it was like you had the obligatory Rubik's Cube joke in the opening thing. You had one of the main sets happened at a record store because it had to be a thing. It was like a checklist of all of this stuff.
Like 80s tropey kind of things that,
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Bad.
I doubt this will go much more in the season if it even lasts a season. So we'll see.
Again, it'll all depend on the writing.
Yep.
It could take up, like if they get good writing, I could see this blowing up. So it's going to be either a massive hit or a total bomb.
Yeah, but I mean, how often does a sequel television series do really well? I mean, I can think of a few, but I mean, Frasier from Cheers.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Mork and Mindy from Happy Days.
Yeah, that really wasn't a sequel.
NCIS Los Angeles from NCIS.
Those are really just the same show. same.
Yeah, there's like 800 different NCIS shows.
Listen, there's enough nostalgia for this.
Law and Order. Yeah.
If they get good writing, I can see it totally blowing up.
Okay, I can't, but that's okay.
I'm okay if it doesn't.
Yeah, me too. Mel Gibson is going to be in the Continental. This is the series based on the John Wick world.
Yeah,
the Continental is the hotel franchise that houses all the hitmen. Which I don't want to book that hotel, I don't think. But what do you guys think about Mel Gibson being in this world?
Makes me less interested in seeing the show. Listen, it goes back to the Alec Baldwin thing again. There are certain actors that I can't get past who they are outside of their job. And it makes it really hard for me to not... I have a hard time engaging in the fiction of their work because of the nonfiction of who they are. Mel Gibson, I don't know if he just had a really bad period and he's past it now. I'm not that in tune with who he is at the moment, but there for a while, I lost a lot of respect for him and I don't.
Yeah.
Oh, same.
This makes me less interested in seeing it. Now, other people have had struggles too. Robert Downey Jr. is a classic case. Though his, I think, were more isolated to being self-destructive as opposed to externally destructive.
Yes.
So that's kind of a different thing too, but
and there's a difference between someone being in a rough period or someone making mistakes versus someone having a pattern for a good part of their lives. Right, and a lot of the stuff that, you know, comes from Mel Gibson and some of them have been proven, some are allegations, but there's, you know, for folks who haven't been paying attention, there's racist stuff. There's stuff that has to do with his daughter, with other things, simply with how he treats people. And I love Mel Gibson, the actor. Mel Gibson, the person. Eric, I agree. I'm not really all that.
And some people can separate that just fine. I'm just not one of those people.
That's me all the way. I mean, we talked about the Tom Cruise thing in the past. I don't think he's a particularly nice guy, but I like his movies.
I hear he's a nice guy to certain people and not a nice guy to other people, and I don't appreciate that.
Yeah, I can separate the two.
In the context of the Continental, I gotta say, and I think given Mel Gibson's age, I'm inclined to think that he's going to be a manager,
probably
not like a active assassin.
I would hope so.
Kind of, he's not going to be a John Wick. So yeah, and especially since it's called the Continental, it would make sense that the whoever the manager is going to be kind of a high level person.
Older bellhop that nobody really wants to take seriously that brings the bags to the room.
But to that point, they're saying he's one of the stars of the series. I guess it depends on how you define star. I don't think he is the star, but I don't know. It makes me want to look at things more closely before bothering with the series. I'll say that.
Speaking of Star, though, this is going to be released on Stars,
right?
Which means a lot of people aren't going to see it, because who the hell actually subscribes to Stars?
Yeah,
like none of us.
Nobody buys DVDs anymore, so it's all a question of which streaming service it shows up on, and by the time it does, they will have already made a decision about getting a second season.
Yeah, I mean, Stars is part of
Cinemax.
I forget which one you get it with? I forget. Yeah, I can't remember who was, but yeah.
For the streaming service.
Yeah, you'll get it as part of some other package when you buy into it. I think it is, but I can't remember which one it was.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, so you're not confusing that with Star?
No.
Which is
that's
the international Disney, distribution platform. Which I don't understand why they would name it the same thing minus one letter. That's just there's a gazillion other words out there that you can use.
And I'm pretty sure everybody knows Disney worldwide. So why don't you just call it Disney Plus everywhere?
I mean, they could have called it Random Chatter and paid us royalties. We'd be open to that.
They'd have to put a plus at the end of it, though. Random Chatter Plus. Like, if it doesn't have a plus, it's obviously a minus.
That's right.
Like, you can't not have a plus if you're streaming. How would people know that that's where they can stream videos if you don't put the plus at the end?
Oh, I know. I get so confused.
I would be confused.
How do people even find us on YouTube without the plus?
I mean, we have to plug it all the time on this show, but they have to have found this show in order for
plus. How much of that cost?
Yeah, we got to.
Anyway, so back to the news. This came in yesterday. Nicolas Cage has still not changed his mind about never retiring from acting. I don't know if you guys had heard about that or not. He's apparently still going to be around.
In other news,
you need to drop this.
Ryan Reynolds has said that he's taking a brief sabbatical after wrapping Spirited.
No, that should be illegal.
Why is he taking a break?
Because he has like a family, and he's been working his ass off.
Bring them to the set like anybody else would. Kids love that stuff.
But the thing is, it could be a couple months. It could be maybe up to a year. I think all that's fine. I mean, Deadpool 3 is like, and quite honestly,
2 or 3 movies in the can ready to go. Then
well actually, he does.
Okay, good. So I'm happy with him.
But Deadpool 3 isn't one of them.
True.
I mean, he can take a sabbatical.
I'm sure work on Deadpool 3. He can do other stuff that's extremely funny too. I mean, have you guys seen the trailer for Red Notice?
Yes.
The second trailer
looks incredible.
Gosh. Red Notice looks fantastic.
The first trailer was great. Second trailer was like, oh my God, I'm totally all in
It's
now.
Deadpool, Wonder Woman, and The Rock. I mean, what more do you want? It's
exactly.
Yeah.
And a good segue, Lou.
Didn't you like that? Although it takes a little bit away when you mention it's a segue.
Yeah.
But I also like to give credit where credit is due.
Oh boy!
When does that come out?
This was
a couple of weeks, right?
Oh, is it that soon?
Yeah,
Soon.
early November.
And I'm so freaking happy that it's on Netflix because like there's no like cinema issue. The day it releases, I can turn on my TV, my laptop, my phone, my iPad, the 5G chip that's in my head from the vaccine, whatever, and I can watch that.
Turn on his
movie.
iPad and his
and
laptop too, and we can all
happy
watch
about
it.
Yeah,
It's great.
Yeah, very excited.
I'm looking for November 5th. Okay, good. I'm saying
even sooner than I thought.
Yeah, I was thinking it was next year, but
I thought it was
awesome.
the 12th. Yeah, 5th.
Cool.
Good.
So yeah, definitely if you haven't checked out the new trailer, check that out. It's very, very funny. I have not seen the new trailer for Doctor Who season 13.
I haven't either. I didn't even know this one out.
It's called Doctor Who Flux. And think of it kind of as a mini series. So season 13 is going to be 6 episodes. And the explanation I saw is that they are all going to tie together directly. So it's basically going to be one big 6-part episodic story. Yeah.
Okay.
So serialized story. Sorry, I said that incorrectly. It's a 6-part story, and that will be the 13th season. And that will be the end of Jodie Whittaker's run as the Doctor. And that will be, there's a Halloween special that's kicking it off. So I assume it will return on or before Halloween.
I've still got
so like in the next week.
Yeah. Apparently.
I've still got a bunch of Doctor Who's to catch up on. Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to.
Yeah, but I feel like I should.
I really like Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor, but the writing has just been so rough in her run. I wish it had been better because there's so much more potential for her in this character. She can do so much more.
It was really disappointing.
Yeah. And some of them haven't been all that bad. I mean, there have been some really good stories that they've done, but when you're looking at it as kind of one big arc, it's like,
Okay.
I'm very glad that we're going back to the old showrunner. I forget which of the 2 showrunners it is that's coming back.
Is it Russell Davies?
I think so. And I forget which one of them was which, because there were 2 of them, and I should know the other one's name too, but some of them did the earlier stuff, some of them did the later Matt Smith stuff.
I thought it was Russell Davies who did the stuff that I really, really liked. I
think so. Either way, the other one, even if not as good, was still better than what we've had recently, and including through all of the Peter Capaldi stuff. And I grew to appreciate Peter Capaldi as the Doctor too. But man, there were some really, really rough episodes, rough seasons with him.
That's the one thing about that show that kind of irks me over the time is you've got to get used to the new Doctor as you go into it, right? So I mean, especially if you have strong ones that you really, really liked. I mean, the first one I watched of the new stuff obviously was oh gosh, gone blank. Season 1 of the new stuff.
Eccleston, Christopher Eccleston.
Yeah. It was good, but I didn't really have anything to reference by. I never watched the older stuff, and I was like, okay. And then when Tennant came out, I'm like, oh wow, this is really, really good. And then I think Matt Smith came on. It was like immediately, I'm like, this is even better, you know?
Yeah, and they kind of went downhill from there.
Yeah, and I'm like, wait, so you build up and you get to a certain point, you're like, okay, even if this is just good, it's not going to be better. So it's like, well, why do we change? But well, it's the nature of that show. So.
It directly correlates to the change in showrunners. People talk about the change in the Doctors, but really, I think if you look behind the scenes, that accounts for most of it.
Eric, why don't you bring us through the? Actually, we got one trailer more left here. And it just sees Being the Ricardos.
I didn't see this trailer.
What's this about?
This is about Lucy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Desi
That's
Arnaz.
okay.
She was going to be
All right.
playing. Yeah, okay.
And
That's
Nicole
cool.
Kidman is playing
I've not seen the trailer, but yeah,
Lucille
we've
Ball.
talked about it.
And it's written by Aaron Sorkin. I haven't seen the trailer, though, and people are saying it's really good. This is coming to Amazon Prime Video, and I think it's coming relatively soon. But beyond that,
Okay.
I don't know. Oh, speaking of kind of biopics, did you guys see the test footage for Robin?
No.
It's about Robin Williams. So there's
I saw a still with the guy that does. Yeah, I saw a still picture from that.
the I guess the test footage got leaked to YouTube, or was intentionally leaked. One of the two, probably intentionally leaked. It was really good quality footage. The guy is absolutely amazing. He is exactly Robin Williams during back in the Mork and Mindy era. There's a scene where Pam Dauber comes in and tells him that John Belushi died that night, and Robin Williams was with John Belushi hours before he died. And it was a really interesting scene, and the guy nailed it. Just incredible. I can't wait to see the movie, and it's specifically because of watching that scene. So if you get a chance, go do a YouTube search for it or something like that. It's good stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I will.
Okay.
Eric, why don't you bring us through the lightning round here of
All right.
what's being picked up and canceled?
So, History of the World Part 2.
Yay.
Never saw the first one.
What?
Mel Brooks's type of humor is okay.
What?
It's good.
Eric,
What?
where's the
I
drop
think
from
Eric's
calls
mic is
button?
broken because I
It's
thought I heard
fine.
him say something he couldn't possibly have said.
It's fine.
Oh my God.
I don't
It's
understand.
my
perfectly fine.
God.
It's fine.
It's iconic.
And it's fine that it's iconic.
It's the one iconic thing that you've never seen. Ever.
No, there's a list. There's a list starting with The Godfather. Yeah, we've had this discussion on and off over the years, and there are some movies that I'm expected to have seen and haven't that I probably shouldn't get into right now because it will be embarrassing. But
That's okay. No, I'm
Lou,
concerned about the Mel Brooks thing.
several
right
of the
now.
Mel Brooks ones.
So what Mel Brooks movies have you seen?
This is not so much a lightning round now, is it?
No, it's not. But we're stopping.
So
right
I've
here.
seen Spaceballs.
This is a full stop moment.
Seen Spaceballs.
Makes sense.
I've
Young Frankenstein.
no.
Young Frankenstein. One of the greatest comedies ever made.
Blazing Saddles.
I've seen parts of that.
The
No,
whole thing.
parts.
Eric, the whole thing. Also,
History of World War
phenomenally
One.
great comedy.
No.
Mm-hmm.
God.
Oh,
Men in
yes,
Tights?
yes, I've seen Men in Tights several times, and it's fine.
Oh, several
No,
times.
we mean
Okay.
the movie.
And it's fine. Yes, I mean the movie. I'm not talking about when I come to visit your house, Lou. I'm talking about the movie.
Oh, I
Yeah,
wanted
no.
to that one.
See, you thought,
I did. Yeah.
Tights.
So History of the World Part 2 is going to be written and executive produced by Mel Brooks. I forget which network it's going to, but it's in the works.
That's awesome news.
That's fantastic.
A
Very
lot of
excited.
people are, and I'm sure it'll be fine. And I'll watch it, and I'll think it's good. And I'll get harassed then too.
But you have to watch the first one first.
The Sopranos prequel movie, we talked about that recently. HBO Max apparently is in discussions to consider making a prequel series. Not sure how I feel about that, mainly because just, again, that time period, late 60s into the early to mid 70s, not my thing. Mythic Quest has been picked up for 2 more seasons on Apple TV Plus.
I still need to watch this. I've not.
Me too.
So part of it, I think, is
Watched
because
anything
I'm a gamer and I've played World of Warcraft and Dark Age of Camelot and EverQuest and EverQuest 2 and like all of these different MMOs over the years. So I get that. But I think even if you've just done more casual gaming or maybe even no gaming at all, I still think it's a really funny show about a dysfunctional workplace. That's funny, but not like sitcom laugh track funny. It's more like drama funny. I don't know how to explain it, but it's, I love the show. I've raved about it several times here. It's getting 2 more seasons on Apple TV. Mm-hmm. I couldn't be more excited. Foundation's been renewed on Apple TV Plus as well.
Good.
Family Reunion is being renewed on Netflix for a 3rd and final season. I'm not too familiar with that one. Pennyworth, which is a DC title, is getting a 3rd season and is moving to HBO Max. I think it was on Freeform. I'm not sure.
I think it was on like Stars or something inaccessible to the majority of the planet.
Is actually, I think it's free and just nobody knows about it and they think it's inaccessible. Either way.
Freeform is the old ABC Family.
Is it?
Yeah, Freeform
then it's something. I don't think it's Stars. And it doesn't matter. Now it's going to be HBO Max.
Quick look here.
Presumably they'll also get the first 2 seasons as well, and then maybe I'll start watching it because I haven't so far. Titans and Doom Patrol are both getting 4th seasons from HBO Max, so
Epics.
Yay and I No Longer Care, respectively.
Epics, by the way. Even more obscure than Stars.
Thank you. Yes, Epics.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Titans, 4th season. Yay, Doom Patrol 4th season. I don't know. I'm starting to get a headache every time I watch that show now. And then finally, Why, The Last Man on Hulu has been canceled. It will not be getting a 2nd season.
Which is amazing because when it was like coming up to release, they promoted the crap out of it. It was every damn commercial on Hulu and half the commercials on network TV. Like it was, you were getting bombarded with it. And it was one of those things that like ended up it was on my list, but now I'm probably not even going to bother since it apparently wasn't good enough for them to run a 2nd season.
It really wasn't. I mean, I watched the pilot and the Last Man was, I don't even remember if he was in the pilot. If so, he had like a few seconds of screen time. The 2nd episode was only a little bit better. And, the world building was okay. The 3rd episode, things kind of started to actually happen and go somewhere. The 4th episode, things kind of continued to try to go somewhere. But again, it was a really slow burn. By the time things started taking place, I stopped caring. I liked it at first and I thought, okay, it's just, it's a long buildup, but once it gets going, it looks like it's going to be really good. And it looked like it had potential to be really good. And it just kept being boring. Yeah.
Too bad. Oh, well.
So that's all we've got for the news.
So Eric, I need you to work on something for me.
I'll try.
We need the release date for season 2 of Upload. Like, really? I mean,
we really do.
I can't believe we haven't heard anything about that. I figured by now we'd hear something.
And it's such a good series.
I love that show.
Damn.
There are so many series that production has been on hold because of COVID. And then, the things that have come back from COVID, the production studios have been cramped. I mean, you've only got so many different sets where you can film things.
True.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard a single thing about it. I heard they got a 2nd season, but then beyond that, just
production
nothing.
took place. I guess it was just kind of searching the internet here now. Robbie and Mel posted something from January showing, production.
Oh, so they've been in. Okay, that's good.
I guess. Yeah.
I mean, that means we'll get it at some point.
That's
There's
good.
that. There's I keep wanting to say Galaxy Quest. The McFarlane thing. Help me out here, Tim.
Oh yeah.
Why can't I?
That's the one. Yeah.
Tim.
Oh my gosh.
Federations, the union.
None of us can remember it. Yeah.
The It's the name of the ship. The Orville.
Yes,
The Orville, yes, thank you.
Wow, I can't remember. I forgot that. But that's the thing. It's been off the air for so long. And then it moved to Hulu.
Yeah.
And then production stopped. And then, there are so many of these shows that we've been anxious to get back to that we're literally forgetting the names of some of them.
Yeah. It's, I think it's set to come back early next year.
There's been an update on it.
Because they finished principal photography. They're doing post-production stuff. And I think they did actually even put out a release date in the last 6 weeks or something.
I want to say it's in March. But they gave a date. Yeah. There's a definitive return date. But yeah, it's been rough. But Upload, we need that coming back.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is going to do it for this episode of Random Chatter. So you can come back next week. Actually, no, you can't come back next weekend. Well, you can, but we won't be here because I guess Lou has to go trick-or-treating or something. I don't know. It's Halloween, and you know what? Even if we were here, I imagine most of you guys wouldn't be, and that's okay. It's okay. It's a holiday, so we're going to take a week off next weekend. We will be back the following weekend. But in the meantime, we will be
with Random Chatter
with
Plus.
Random Chatter Plus in video here.
And no, see, I'd be available for Sunday night. I'm not available for Saturday morning for D&D. That's what I'm not.
Was it Tim that's not available Sunday night?
Yeah,
I'm not available for any of it.
Tim's going trick-or-treating. Okay.
No, they're John's wedding.
On Halloween?
Which he's already... No, it's on Saturday. He's already married, but...
Right. Our John from the network. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. From MCU TV and Guardians of the MCU.
Huh. Well, tell him I said hi and congratulations and all that. Or is it you don't...
Mm-hmm.
You don't wish congratulations for a wedding, you
congratulations
wish best wishes.
on getting married a year and a half
What's
ago.
That?
Congratulations on getting married a year and a half ago.
Except you're not supposed to congratulate people because that implies you overcame some unsurmountable challenge to be somebody actually was willing to marry you. So congratulations. You're supposed to say best wishes, but then when you have a kid, you say congratulations. There's some sort of really old. Lou, you're old. How does this? So no. Wow. There's traditions behind this.
Where's
Tim?
the hang up button? Where's the hang up?
I was doing that. I was doing the closing. I swear I was. There's evidence.
Here, see, there you go.
All right. So we will not be back next weekend. We will be back the weekend after that. And we lost Lou.
No, I'm still here.
Oh, there he is.
You blanked out on my Skype window there.
I know. I was.
Yeah, you're frozen there. Oh, yeah. See, that's okay.
I was trying to be dramatic. Yeah.
Wow, Lou. Jeez.
That's funny.
You know how these old people get when they get offended? They get all cranky and stuff. Man.
That's it.
So we will be back Monday. And there he goes again. We will be back Tuesday night with our Halloween coverage of Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. Again, even if you haven't seen the movie, come hang out with us. It's going to be a fun episode. And I mean, spoilers, who cares, right? It's not that kind of movie. So that'll be Tuesday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. It'll be Lou, myself, and Robin, Tim's wife. If you haven't checked out the show before, I highly recommend you do. And we will see you then. Until next time, have a good and happy and safe Halloween. And we will see you again soon.